Hi, it's Katie, and welcome back to my channel.
Pick your season or occupation. It's time to send in your application. Get to know your short-term friends you only talk to till summer ends. The best way.
As you can probably tell from the title of this video, I'll be showing you all how I write my stories, how long I've been writing my stories, and just tips and tricks on what I do. So, let's get started. Writer's block. Writer's block is not fun. I have experienced writer's block multiple times, and it is not fun. Like a burst of inspiration, that can definitely help you maneuver around getting writer's block. Little trick that I do writing my stories is I listen to music. I have a full playlist of it's called Katie's Writing Playlist, so it has just a bunch of songs that help me kind of get the creative juices running and figure out what to write next. You can find music that's very similar to the vibe, I guess, that you're putting into the story, and listening to music that's very similar to that can help with trying to figure out what to write next. Sure, you all have heard of fanfiction. Fanfiction is basically writing a story based on your favorite books, movies, or TV shows. I personally love fanfiction. I think it's a great way for people to actually start writing and figure out what they want to do, what genres they want to write about, and I actually think that's a great step that if you want to write, or just go ahead and just write something. It doesn't have to be about it doesn't have to be fanfiction, it can be anything. I've always liked it. I love reading different people's stories about it and just seeing the different takes they have on certain scenes in the movies or in the TV shows or books. Yes, I have created my own fan fiction, but I have taken a break. I feel like doing fan fiction, you get a lot of writer's block because you want to stick with the original plotline of the TV show, but it's also very hard to add on to that because you don't want to distract from the actual original storyline of the TV series. The very first fan fiction I ever wrote, I know I was in elementary school and I was a big fan of Harry Potter. I mean, who isn't? I've just finished watching all of the movies, and I was like, I don't want this to end. I'm gonna write my own Harry Potter books. So I took the kids of the main characters and I kind of wrote my own story. I never finished it. I would love to pick it back up, but I don't know where it is. I can't find it. I was looking for it earlier today. I don't know where it went. Couldn't tell you. I was a big fan of Supergirl in middle school and a little bit in high school, and I wrote a short little story about the Kara Danvers' sister. I wrote it on that, and I think I started it. I think I wrote one chapter and I just stopped. Those are the two ones that I written in middle school and elementary school, and then I got to sophomore year and my writing had improved so much. I know that fan fiction in the mid 2000s or when I was in elementary school and middle school was not very good. I've heard that Wattpad and all that stuff was not very good because there's just so many bad writers. Stories that I've read are really good, and there are some that are just really bad. Writing fan fiction is not easy, and it's very hard because you're like, well, I want to stick to what I like to do, but I also want to stick to people liking what I write. And now I'm going to tell you something. I love writing essays. I don't know why. I think it's just because I like English and I like to write. It's in my eye. I love writing essays. Now, it depends on the topic. If it's an argumentative essay, I'm all for that. If it's a narrative essay, I'm all for that too. I'm going to be going over the apps that I use to help me strengthen my writing skills and learn from my mistakes that I have made, because I have made a lot of mistakes. Okay, so, alright, first app, Google Docs. Love me some Google Docs. Microsoft Word. I don't use Microsoft Word as much as I do Google Docs, but Google Documents is so good. It is awesome. I'll show y'all a couple of my Google Docs that I've made for my stories, and I think that'll help y'all format. Next app that I use is Wattpad. Now, before you say anything, yes, I realize that Wattpad was not a very good app back then, and it's grown. There are a couple movies based on Wattpad books, but I do read some stories that my friends have made, and I help them with that stuff. But Wattpad is great for if you want to publish your books and get feedback for that. That's the only way why I use Wattpad, is to publish my books before I actually think about, oh, I should publish this to the real world. I use Wattpad mainly for that. There is an age range for it. I think it is 17 or 18 and above, because there can be some mature content on there, so read wisely. Next app is really good, is Pinterest. Oh my gosh, I love Pinterest so much, and it is such a great app. You can find like outfit inspirations, like what to paint next, room decor, room layouts, where to move next, van life. They have some really cool stuff on there, aesthetic pictures, just like things to draw. They have just like a bunch of stuff. I probably use it almost every day. I could spend hours on Pinterest. I probably have just pinning stuff to my boards that I've made. I will link my Pinterest account below if you want to check out the boards that I have. They're pretty cool. Pinterest is great for looking up dialogue prompts or writing prompts. Now you may be wondering, Katie, what the heck are writing prompts and dialogue prompts? Dialogue and writing prompts are just, as what the name says, it is pieces of dialogue from like certain like different just like generic characters of saying. They're really cool, and they can help you spice up your story and add a little tension to your chapters. And OCs, you're like, what is an OC? An OC is an original character. I'm sure I don't know if that's like a specific like writing lingo. I think it's just a word in general. OC is original character, which is something that you've made and that nobody else has made. Another thing is called a face claim. An OC face claim which is an original character face claim. Now, face claim is just a picture of like an actor or like someone that you found on the internet, and you're like, oh, I want my character to look like that. So when you're writing your books, you can put that onto a Google Docs and kind of add on to that, and that can help you visualize your character in certain scenes. I've done it before. It's helped me a lot. It's a good app. It's not an app. It's a website. It's called Word Hippo. Word Hippo gives you synonyms and antonyms for the word that you're looking for, or like replacements for that word. It gives you definitions, and it gives you the word in a sentence, so it'll help you format it in a way where it actually makes sense. You want to write, but you're not really sure where to start. Well, friend, I'm going to show you. I've been writing since I was in, I have been writing since I was in elementary school. I wrote that Harry Potter and Supergirl story, and you know, it was awesome. I loved it, and I still like it because it's fun and I can just experiment on what I want to do. So yeah. Alright. So first I'm going to show you all my plot line. An example of a plot line. So it is, when I tell you, it is so important to write a plot line when you're writing a story. I learned this from my dad because I used to not write plot lines and just go for it. Now you can do that. You don't have to use a plot line for your story. It's just probably not going to be as organized as you would want it to. Here is my plot line right here. This is my new book that I'm sort of writing. I've kind of taken a break on it because the school's kind of been in the way and work's been in the way. But this is kind of my first book that not my first book that I've written, but just, you know what I mean. It's been a while since I've edited this, but you can see my character list right here. And then look, there's a face claim. So this is Arthur. He's the class clown. This story does need some tweaking or just work because it's not bad. It's not bad. It's just there are some details that are kind of a little iffy. But yes, so this is my character. So this is not the main character, but this is Arthur, the class clown, and there's a group of kids that are kind of like the last group to save Earth. So I got the appearance, the characteristics, the hobbies, and a bunch of other details that I have. But when you're writing under characters and you're detailing them, their characteristics, their personalities, their hobbies, their details, or just what they look like, Doing that definitely helps you connect you to your characters and figure out if you want to keep them alive or kill them off. This is it. This is kind of, we got Dylan, he's the football player, or the jock. And yeah, and then here's Carter, he's the nerd, and then Avery. And then here's the main character, we got Kaylee. But yes, so, and then I also put down the parents of some of the characters just to help me kind of figure it out. But also, when you're writing a story, you want to write your summary first so you kind of get an idea of how you want to go about it. And then just more details. So the setting, which is, you can probably tell, setting, time period is really important, and then genre of the story. So the genre of my story is sci-fi, but it kind of later turns into dystopian because I love dystopian stories. And then you kind of want to choose your target audience. So my target audience is about 13 and up, so young adult. If you want to write a sci-fi story, of all the books that I've read, they've all been pretty long. Fantasy books, like the Harry Potter books, for example, those were really long. Or the Hunger Games books, the Maze Runner books, for example, those are long too. So kind of sci-fi books in general, I feel like can be serious, but it just depends on what the topic is. So here's the plot line. I separated it by chapters to help me figure out what I want to do, and of course you can edit that and switch around scenes. So yeah, this is kind of what my plot line looks like. You know, it can look different for you. Just running a plot line is very important. It helps you lay your story and figure out the beginning and figure out the end. Writer's block. When you're getting into writer's block, if you can't think of anything, a good idea to get past that is listen to music, contact friends, fellow writers, ask for advice for that, look it up. Google probably has some good options. Or figure out scenes with your characters. It doesn't have to be in the order of what you're writing. It can just be any scene in general, and you can later add it into your story. We're gonna hop over to Wattpad. Now, Wattpad, like I was saying, is a great outlet for you to meet new people and for you to learn from your mistakes and figure out what to write next. Now, the book that I am showing currently this helped me a lot with trying to figure out what else to write and writing tips. They have, like this one, like a description of someone. They have 30 ways to start a novel. They have voice descriptions, how to write better dialogue. Now let's go into Word Hippo. So, like I was saying, Word Hippo helps you figure out synonyms, antonyms, definitions, stuff like that, or sentences. They can help you figure out. So let's just look up said. So by looking up said, it gives you a bunch of synonyms for different ways. So they have an adjective, referred to or spoken of, and they have communicated, and they have a bunch of stuff. So for verbs, they have declared or pronounced or stated or uttered or voiced or exclaimed. There's a bunch of ones. And then antonyms, kind of what the word says. Antonyms would be just the opposite of said. So it would be written or paper or heard. You have sentences where you can look at the word in the sentence to help you figure out how you want to format it into your story. So, yeah. Word Hippo, pretty good. Hope you all enjoyed this video. I enjoyed making it. And like I said, writing is not easy, and if you want to get into something like that, it can be easy for you depending on how creative you are. So, if you need tips and tricks, follow these tips and tricks that I've offered, and they're really good tips, and I have used them multiple times, and they've helped me get through writer's block, or just stuff in general. So yeah, if you need some help or whatever, feel free to comment down below, and I will do my best to help you. Thank you all for watching this video, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the bell icon, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye!
Make it, we'll survive, though we might be sleep deprived.